It's 28 minutes to 9. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We're joined now by Mr. Bola Bakare, who is of the Truth Be Told Network, a non-governmental organization. Thank you for coming on this morning.
I'm glad to be here.
We're talking about this national conference. Yes, different perspectives still emerging, although the conference is a question of when it will hold now, because they say they've gone beyond that if all of those sections, things they need to put together are being done at the moment. Is this the way to go?
Thank you. From the perspective of Truth Be Told Network, we try and maintain a middle-of-the-road, truthful approach to all issues and situations on hand. Thank God for people like you. When this, at inception, we were here to discuss this, when it was national dialogue. Now it's a national conference. But the crux of the matter as we speak is we are moving forward. Irrespective of what, we are moving forward. The clamor for a national conference have moved 2 steps. Two steps. It might be 2 in 20 or 2 in 100, but we've moved 2 steps. Because all for one, the agitation has been listened to. 1. 2, the people have been partially satisfied by virtue of the fact that the PAC has gone around Nigeria and they came up with guidelines. And honestly, those guidelines speaks the mind of 80% of Nigerians, if not in totality.
You say the people have been partially satisfied. Can the people be substantially satisfied?
That will be at the end of the day. As we speak, where we are, there is partial satisfaction because the agitations has been listened to, guidelines have been drawn up, and people are very, very happy about the guidelines because it about captures everything that everybody is talking about. The second step, which I guess has been taken, is the fact that Mr. President, by virtue of his intellect, his position, is trying to deliver to Nigerians. But as in all cases, as in all endeavors, as in all projects, there are bound to be hiccups, itches, and glitches along the line. And that is one aspect we want him to look at closely. You see, the average Nigerian, you Nigerians too, excuse me, and I guess you have agreed to the fact that, okay, these guidelines are good to go. Short of the fact that there is just one singular no-go zone, which is don't discuss disunity of our nation state.
Is that a good signal?
Honestly, because of the kind of people we are aggressive in most things we do. I wouldn't mind that being part of the discourse, because we'll be able to field a few questions, we'll be able to juxtapose our ideas, and then we'll be able to come out with a good format of how to go forward. I guess the system is being scared a little bit of, if we allow this, it will become the #1 topic of the conference. But the thing is, it's good as it is, because think about the underlying factors before you go to the top.
But someone will then ask, what's the point of having a conference if you won't talk about what people really want to talk about?
I'm telling you one thing. We want to talk about the underlying factors that determines the major factor. Let me tell you the reason why most Nigerians are agitating for the discussion on national unity. It is because the nation has failed Nigerians. And as normal human beings with the tenets of social engineering, you know what we do to ourselves? If Nigeria as a whole doesn't favor you, you move back to your state. If your state doesn't favor you, you move back to your LG. If your LG doesn't favor you, you move back to your ethnic group and family, which is the situation we have on hands in Nigeria. So what I'm saying is, if we can make Nigerians feel better, not just at the home level, the LG level, state level, and Nigeria as a whole, we won't be talking about unity or disunity. That is why I call those the baseline factors we need to look at before we now go and say, do we want to stay together or not? Though the agitation is well-founded. But in most cases, when it comes to implementation of good projects, we need to prioritize.
But some of the previous guests here say, look, coming to this conference without talking about the indivisibility of the country, you take away the bargaining power of everyone, because they come in and say, listen, well, you could discuss all you want, you can argue all you want, if you don't want get a consensus or whatever you decide on, we are still together. Like it or leave it.
You said the baseline thing is, you're a Nigerian too. I can throw it at you. We want to stay one. Let's look at the modalities of staying one. And don't overflog and don't dwell on the factors of why are we together after all.
So this conference is assuming that Nigerians want to stay together?
Yes. That is an assumption, and it's a positive assumption, which I guess the underlying factors would take care of. But as we speak, like we're talking about all the other modalities that are entailed in all this conference. You see, there are some factors we need to look at closely. Truth be told, is happy that we made it a point that whatever it is they're doing, they should put it in the pages of the newspaper. Nigerians are getting more knowledgeable about what's going on. The other two conferences just came up with big packages and gave to Mr. President of where it was. We never knew what was going down. But in this instance, we are happy that, okay, there's a guideline we can look at. Most Nigerians have start copies of those in their homes now. We can look at and then we can develop on that. But truth be told, sat down and we looked at one thing. When Senator Okoromo finished, he went to Mr. President and gave him a 4,000-page package. I'm appealing to your cerebral sensibilities. The guidelines we have is just 1 page or 2. What does he have in that 4,000 pages?
You think we should all know?
Yes, because it spells one thing. The guidelines they're telling us to look at, they've already deliberated on it. That is why, with due respect to anybody out there, the presidency has the chairman, the vice chairman, and the secretary. And those are the crux of any sitting, any meeting, any board. So what stops anybody from reading to us what is in 4,000 pages? What is in that 4,000 pages? It's a concluded situation.
But it's an advice.
For God's sake, you want to advise me on 4,000 pages? Where is the executive summary? The executive summary is what we need. What we are saying is not what Okoromo is telling Mr. President.
You know, I mean, my colleague just said just what it was. Because, I mean, the committee had a task.
Yes, that's
they
right.
They had to go out.
That's right.
Collate opinions. I mean, one would assume immediately that this is the collation of the opinions, the various opinions, but this is what we're able to synthesize. I mean, that's where you begin to get in modalities of how this conference should hold. I mean, having looked at this, the only way we will advise you to go about this conference, considering all we have heard and seen, is for you to adopt, you know, other bodies other than ethnic groups. Isn't that fair enough? Because at the end of the day, what you want, or what many people will say they want, is action.
That's right.
Not what the details of the 4,000-page report is.
What I'm trying to tell you here is, I don't want a situation where Nigerians are railroaded. And if you have a package that big, we are being railroaded. The idea is, here are guidelines. Let 492 people sit on those guidelines and come up with 4,000 pages. Not 4,000 pages prior to the sitting. That is my grasp.